Is that good, Teddy? Does that taste good?
Today we're making keto cinnamon rolls for the protein-sparing modified fast. I'm Anita from KetogenicWoman.com, where I share keto recipes and carnivore cooking ideas. If you're new here, welcome. Please hit the subscribe, and I hope you check out some of my other videos. I've been playing around with some keto cinnamon rolls, cinnamon buns. They actually kind of look like Danishes when they come out, but it doesn't matter. They're cinnamony, they're good for keto. They're carnivore-ish because there is going to be some sweetener to make these taste like cinnamon rolls or cinnamon Danish. But everything else, I mean, it's good for protein-sparing modified fast. It's going to be egg yolks, egg white powder, and a few other ingredients here. And they actually turned out quite good, so I'm excited to share these with you. So let's get started. I'm just going to make a half a recipe because I have a whole bag full of them in my fridge from ones that I've already made. But just so that you can see how they go together. So I'm going to start with a half a cup of egg whites. This would be, if you're using fresh, just check that, but I think it's 2 tablespoons of this is 1 egg white, and so that would be 4 egg whites. 2 tablespoons of the egg white powder, and I'm going to put in some cream of tartar. And yes, I'm putting everything in at once before I start mixing. Thank you very much to my ketogenic family for that amazing tip that now I just really love doing it that way. Half a teaspoon, because I'm making half the recipe. A teaspoon of allulose. Apparently, other sweeteners also work. So if you don't have allulose, especially if you're Canadian, wow, this is like a rarity. I'm kind of getting to the bottom of my bag, and I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to get any. I might have to drive across the border, but I don't know if I want to do that yet. Nutritional yeast, 1 teaspoon. Just kind of gives it more of that yeasty. My mom, when she made cinnamon buns, they were yeast dough, and so adding the yeast it kind of reminds me of more of a traditional yeast dough. And we're going to go with some, lastly, xantham gum. I'm going to use 1/8 of a teaspoon. Now I'm going to mix. This will take a few minutes. High speed on your electric mixer.
Stiff peaks have formed.
So we've got our stiff peaks. Basically, look at that. That's what you're looking for. You don't want it to fall out. That's like pretty stiff. Okay, you don't have to do what I'm about to do. I'm just trying to make it look more like a bun or a Danish. You can totally just take your spatula and plunk it into your pans or whatever. I'm using a silicone, I think it's called a muffin top pan. It came as a 2-pack. I think it was about $10 for 2. I'm just gonna be making 1. So you can also just put parchment paper on your pan and make, shape it manually or, with your spatula. Whatever tools you have. I just really like using this because it just helps give me some structure. These are also fantastic for little mini pizzas. I use them a lot for that. And also for burgers. Actually, I might do some burgers later in these as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take I've got a disposable decorating bags. I just got them online. These are Wilton, and I bought a little kit a bunch of different ends, you know, that I use for different things depending. If you want to, you know, make something look fancy, it's pretty simple.
I am not a baker.
So this is about as fancy as I ever will get. My mom used to have this big white cloth icing bag, decorating bag. And boy, you could put a lot in there. The only thing I don't like about these is you can't put that much in, and it's tricky. Okay, so I'm just standing it up in a bag so that I can use 2 hands to fill it. Because that's the tricky part, isn't it? I will probably have to fill this twice. I need to just shake it to work it down. But like I said, you can just, you know, mound this on. This is going to get messy because I overfilled it a bit. But then, so what is kind of cool, oh, I hope that stays there, is that you can then just make this kind of look like a faux rolled bun. That one's not very artistic, but let me see if I can get this one better.
Like I said, I'm no baker.
The nice thing about this PSMF bread is that it stays very sturdy, so whatever shape you make here, it will come out looking this way when it's baked. It just seems to hold its shape very well. All right, that one's a little
Awkward looking, but it's okay.
It's going to taste amazing. Okay, I'm going to add a bit more to some of these other ones. The macros on these are pretty good if you're doing protein sparing fast. I will post them below. So these are going to go in the oven at 325 for only 15 minutes, and then I'm going to let them rest in there for 10 minutes. But they are cinnamon buns, so first I'm going to sprinkle them with cinnamon. I just want to mention one thing before I put these in the oven. When I made a full batch the other day, what's cool is that these fit like this on the one pan. I mean, they're a little tilty, but this stuff doesn't move, so it doesn't slide or anything like that. You can actually totally bake them with it a little bit up like that. So I thought that was cool. But we're just doing a half recipe here. So off they go, 15 minutes. Okay, so while we're waiting for those to bake, I'll show you the ones I baked the other day. I'm going to bring out a couple to show you icing options. So here you can see that they hold their shape, like the little twirly thing I did. It's all there. It kind of looks like it was rolled that way. So I'm going to show you a couple of different icing options because how you ice them or glaze them is going to depend on whether you're doing like a regular keto day or a protein sparing modified fast day. When I made these the other day, I made them on what I call a lean day where I'm, trying to limit the fat. And so what I did, and it worked perfectly fine, is I put a little bit of the icing sugar swerve. I just took a teaspoon, which has the consistency of icing sugar. I added a tiny little bit of water to it, like just a smidgen of water. In fact, I think on this one I just added a bit too much. It's a little runny, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more. And I like to add a drop of maple flavoring. This is Loran's oils. You can add nothing, you can add something. This is a Canadian thing. We like our maple syrup. So then you're just drizzling this on. Again, this is a little thin. I wouldn't normally make it this thin. It needs to be a little thicker, but you get the idea. So then on the other days, your regular keto days, you could use some cream cheese on this, or you could do what I just did with the swerve powder, but use cream instead of just the water. I think it tastes fine with the water. One of my favorite ways to amp these up is just a little bit of cream cheese. This is probably a teaspoon and a half. Just smear it on like that. And put a pinch of brown sugar swerve on there. That is really good. I had one this morning. So the other thing I want to mention is that when you bake these, when they first come out of the oven, they are a different texture than they are the next day kept in the fridge. When they first come out of the oven, they're very, they're like hard, like you wouldn't be able to do this. This is now very pliable. If you did that when they first come out, it would just break. So it does take some refrigeration to get them to soften up and be more like buns. And you could heat these up too. Just pop it in the microwave for a few seconds if you want a warm roll, and then put the glaze on. But they are actually really good. I'm actually kind of impressed with how they turned out. I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, look what we have here. So there you can see how well they keep their shape. So however you mold them, they just go. So I think what I'd like to do is take one out. So I don't know if you could hear that noise of it coming out. It's like a cracker when it first comes out. Like I could just literally snap this in half. And actually maybe I will. Here, I'll take this ugly one. So it just breaks like a cracker when it first comes out. So I mean, you can certainly eat one when it first comes out, but it's not the same as the next day when, you know, look how soft and pliable that is. That's not breaking unless you tear it apart. So I just wanted you to know about that. And it tastes moister the next day as well. If I was to eat this now, let me just try that. Yeah, it's dry. And the top just sort of turns into crumbs in my mouth. And maybe this is, you know, a lot of people say that these recipes are dry, but maybe it's because you're trying them the same day. They really soften up the next day. So I'm just taking one of the cinnamon rolls that I did the other day, and I'm heating it up for a few seconds in the microwave. I'm going to ice it, glaze it. Oh yeah, it's nice and soft. I fixed up my icing a bit, it's thicker. I think probably the best thing with the icing is to make a quantity of it, because it would be about 1 cup of the powdered swerve, and then you'd add a tablespoon of water or cream. If it's your non-protein sparing fast day, you could do that. And then it's nice and thick like this one. This one is my maple flavored one. You could do a lemon glaze. You could do just vanilla, or no, just like icing, plain. But I'm gonna give this a try now. That was really good. So my recommendation is this. If you eat them right after you make them, you might be disappointed. Wait till the next day, microwave it for a few seconds. I did one for 10 seconds, then ice it or put cream cheese on it, whatever, and then enjoy it. So good. Okay, so that's it. Any questions, ask them down below. Also, I'm gonna put a list of all the products, you know, and how much I used of each one down below, so that you weren't having to furiously make notes as I was doing this. The information will all be down below. We'll see you next time.
Your PMS. My oven's ready. Teddy is rolling. Teddy is rolling. Whoops. I guess the dogs are going to get that one. You were laughing.